I'm going to cover 6.3 solve multi-step inequalities today, and just want to quickly remind you once again that even though it is an inequality, you solve just like a multi-step equation. Okay, that means you isolate the variables. If we have like terms, combine all like terms and all that steps that you have to perform. And last thing you need to remember is only flip the inequality sign when you divide or multiply by a negative value as during your last step. Okay, this is like the last thing you write where the variable is going to be by itself. Okay, you don't flip anything just yet until the very end. Only when you divide or multiply by a negative value. Okay, so don't forget about that. So with that in mind, take a look at this example that I have for you. You have negative 12 minus d greater than negative 22 plus 4d. So notice I have variables on both sides. Can't have that. Just like in equations, I need to have all of my variables on one side. So, you can move the negative d to the right, or you can move 4d to the left. It doesn't really matter. You get the same answer. So let's say I want to move the negative 12 over to the right-hand side. So let's start with that. So that's going to give me negative d greater than negative 22 plus 12 is going to give me negative 10 plus 4d. And I need to move the 40 over to the left-hand side, so I'm performing the opposite operation. Okay, so that's going to get me negative 5d greater than negative 10. Okay, I want to solve for d, so therefore I have to divide negative 5 both sides. Notice that this is your last step before obtaining d by itself. Because this is the last step and you are multiplying or dividing, in this case you are dividing by a negative value. Dividing means you don't forget that you need to flip the symbol, flipping, okay? Change its direction. So that's going to become d is less than now, and negative 10 divided by negative 5 is going to be positive 2. So when I write that as a solution set, there exists a d such that d is less than 2. If I had to test to make sure I did it correctly, I would just pick a number that is less than 2. Let's say 0 once again, because it is the easiest one to test. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in 0 into my inequalities. It's going to be negative 12 minus 0 greater than negative 22 plus 4 times 0. Negative 12 minus 0 is still negative 12. Negative 22 plus 0, 4 times 0 is 0, so this could be a negative 22. And clearly you can see that negative 12 is indeed greater than negative 22. Check. You got that as a solution. So I want you to go ahead and try this example, this problem yourself. Here you go. Try 6n plus 12 greater than 8 plus 8n. Okay, this is part of your problem anyway for your in-class work. So please make sure you work on it. I'll be checking in with you when you come back to class. Okay, so here is a next example I'd like to show you. Negative 3x plus 6 over 2 less than or equal to 12. Okay, and we want to go ahead and solve for x. Well, it's kind of complicated here, but we can certainly get rid of this 2 by multiplying both sides by 2, right? So now it's going to become negative 3x plus 6 less than or equal to 24. We want to continue solving for x by first getting rid of this 6. So we're going to subtract 6 both sides. We have negative 3x less than or equal to 18. Now to get rid of this negative 3, we'll divide it by negative 3. Notice that this is your last step before obtaining x by itself, and because you are dividing by a negative value, you need to flip your symbol. Flipping, okay? I'm just merely flipping the symbol. I'm not changing the actual symbol. I'm just flipping it. So now x becomes greater than or equal to 18 divided by negative 3 is going to be negative 6. When I write that as a solution set, it's going to become x such that x is greater than or equal to negative 6. Let's test our solution to make sure it's true. Anything that's greater than negative 6, well, once again, because 0 happens to be on the right-hand side of this negative 6, and it's greater than that, I'm going to choose 0. So negative 3 times 0 plus 6 over 2, is that going to be less than or equal to 12? Negative 3 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 6 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So this becomes 3. 3 is indeed less than 12. So we got that checked out too. And I want you to go ahead and work on this next problem yourself. Try this one. 4x minus 2 over 5 greater than or equal to negative 4. Okay, see if you can obtain the solution for x. Okay, take a look at this last example that I have for you. Negative 2 times k minus 1 greater than 8 times 1 plus k. Okay, looks complex, but don't forget, we have certain rules that we always want to follow. If we can distribute, sure, why not finish that first. So negative 2k, and negative 2 times negative 1 becomes positive 2. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times k, positive k, so it's become 8k. I want all the k's to one side, all the numbers to one side. So let's go ahead and first move 8k over by performing the opposite operation. It's going to be negative 10k plus 2 greater than 8. Subtract the 2 now because I want to move the number over to the right hand side. So that becomes 6 divided by negative 10 both sides. K is going to be greater than. Did I do that correctly? Apparently not. Notice last step, I divided by negative 10, so I need to flip my symbol. So it's not going to be greater than, but less than. So please always check your work carefully. 6 over negative 10 can be reduced to 3 over negative 5. So when you write your solution set, it's going to be k such that k is less than negative 3/5. Okay? And if we want to check our answers, anything that's less than negative 3/5, any negative number that's bigger, that's a smaller negative 1. So let's say negative, let's use negative 1. So negative 1. So negative 1 minus 1 greater than 8 times sum of 1 plus negative 1. Okay, so this is negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. This is 8 times 1 plus negative 1, 0. So 4 greater than 0, checked. Okay, so we know this is also correct. With that, here's your last problem I'd like you to try. Here is the problem. 8 minus 2 times b plus 1 less than 12 minus 3 times b. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and solve this problem. We'll check the answers back and have fun trying.